Hello again! Welcome back to Faulty Circuits. What happened last time in Calvin's adventures? He was in big trouble, but someone saved him, right? Let's find out. With the little Harpy. Muriel the Harpy and her best friend, Filbert the Chickadee, were scavenging a plane wreck in the mountains when they should have been performing in the royal concert. It was that same fateful day that she first noticed him. The long-bodied two-legger boy. The two friends were free spirits, even if Filbert was a bloody coward. Muriel easily dodged the snipes from blue jays swooping down over the booty they'd found, but Filbert was terrified of the nasty beasts. In any case, the haul was excellent. A CD called Avril Lavigne and Chad Kroeger Christmas Special Duet album, and a book called The Secret. She tucked them into her satchel and the two set back together towards the eyrie. That's when they saw him. At first, he just looked like good meat, but there was something about him. Something familiar. She wanted to get closer. Dead in a pile of bear droppings. He was skinny with weird hair, and he was human. But there really was something about him. Muriel felt she was in love. She shrieked a harpy shriek and pounded on his chest with her little harpy fists. There, she thought, his heart is beating again. I'd better get away before the nuns find me. But I'll be back. Something shone beside him. A shiny black rectangle. She grabbed it. And a clean white femur. She grabbed that too. She shook out her wings and flapped them away from the pile. Lift off, just in time. A nun of the very little cloth was running towards the sound of her shriek. Muriel and Filbert made it back to her treasure eyrie safe and sound. She nestled in with her new findings, laying them out joyfully. Then she reclined into romantic daydreams of whoever that mostly dead, leggedy boy was. Her dreams were soon interrupted by an intruder. Bantam, her father's right-hand bat. Bantam, what are you doing? Oh, no! She remembered partway through her admonishment that she'd been supposed to perform in a concert that morning. She ruffled her feathers and took off from the royal nest. Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no! Her voice shrank into the distance from Bantam and Filbert. Muriel! Her father called angrily as he saw her approach. Could you please tell me why I'm paying for an Ivy League vocal coach for you? Is this an investment in embarrassment? No, Daddy, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just forgot. It was literally the only thing on your schedule, Muriel. Muriel lowered her eyes in shame. The king shook his head. Filbert flitted in, rushing to save the day. Your Highness, no, wait, it wasn't her fault. It was because, we were just there in the plane wreckage and... Plane wreckage? I thought I told you to stay away from humans. Filbert turned pale. Daddy, I'm sorry. Never again, Muriel. You know they long for vengeance for all the times we've stolen or soiled their food. Ugh! Go to your eyrie. Muriel shot away crying. She flew to her treasure nest to pine for the human she'd found. Muriel, faithful to the sensibilities of her father, tried honestly to forget the boy. She behaved herself as well as she could, attended the rest of the concerts that month, but she could barely focus. Finally, she could no longer deny that there was no forgetting him. She decided to find him again. She couldn't rest until she did. Indeed, it was fortunate for him that she did. She found him strung up to a pyre between two warring human kingdoms, on the very brink of immolation. She beat the fire away with her wings and tore at the ropes with her taloned feet. In a swoop, they were away, back south to her treasure nest to live with the beautiful human things. But what awaited them, though preferable to death by fire, was less than ideal. Daddy Byron was waiting for them. He'd followed his right-hand bat to the trove and sat impatiently for them to fly in. Calvin dropped face first into the nest. He recognized his shiny black rectangle phone right away. He picked it up with wide eyes. "Oh boy, my window home! Oh no, it's dead. Never mind." Byron's clawed foot smashed the phone to the ground far below them from Calvin's hand. "Hey!" Calvin's eyes scanned the rest of the nest. He saw the bone and gingerly picked it up like it was a holy item. "Is that Jennifer's leg?" Byron smashed it out of his hand. "Hey!" "It's our way to smash things from the hands of humans," the king said. "Muriel! What is he doing here?" "They were gonna kill him, Daddy. I had to save him. I had to. I love him." "Take it back!" the king gasped. He clutched at his heart with his wing. "You couldn't possibly love a human!" "I do, Daddy," she insisted stubbornly. "I love him. We want to be together." Calvin looked around uncomfortably. He didn't remember making any promises, but, well, he was somewhat glad not to be crisped right now. "He's a human, Muriel. Interspecies relations never work out. And besides, this one is obviously a loser. No offense." Byron looked at Calvin. "I'm a man of many names," he replied cheerfully. "Fine!" Muriel cried. "We're running away to the Sky Witch, then. I'll have her turn him into one of us." "No, you can't! You mustn't!" Byron raged. Calvin picked up the Avril Chad album. Byron knocked it out of his hands. "Oh," he whinged. "I really wanted to hear that Christmas album," whined Calvin. Muriel gave one more furious look at her father, then grabbed Calvin in her talons again and fled the nest. The Sky Witch cockatrice, also known as Auntie Karen, would help them. Calvin snatched up the secret and held it tight for the flight. One prized possession to keep at least. But Auntie didn't help them. Despite the eternal feud she seemed to have with her brother, King Byron, she agreed that Calvin would still be a loser even if he were transmogrified into one of their own species. Instead, she told Muriel that if Calvin could manage to not read any more quotes from the secret for 3 whole days, she would change him and they could have their happily ever after. She made herself as clear as possible about the rules. He had to last until sunset of the 3rd day. "So we just need to lay low for a few short days and actually get to know each other," Muriel smiled at Calvin. "Somewhere else," Auntie Karen eyeballed Calvin. In fact, to most humans, Karen's glance was lethal. To most everything but weasels was her glance lethal. Calvin, being a bit weaselish himself, was luckily immune. They found a cave, and Calvin tried everything in his knowledge to not accidentally kill his new princess. No poetry, no Chumbawamba, no questions. He was learning. "We're going to make it through these 3 days here in this cave," she said. "You can make a fire since I don't have hands. We'll be warm. I'll catch our food." "We'll make it through with the power of love," Calvin said. "There is nothing more powerful in this universe than the power of love." "Calvin!" Muriel screamed. "Every time you quote that book, the clock resets before Auntie Karen will change you." He tried hard, but he slipped repeatedly, announcing that it was impossible to bring more into your life if you're feeling ungrateful about what you have. Then hours later, that power was in their thoughts, so they should stay awake. Around noon the next day, Muriel came back from a hunt with a fresh fish. Calvin was overcome by his feelings of hunger and gratitude. "Oh, wow! Thoughts really do become things. I thought about this fish, and the universe provided." Muriel snatched the fish back from him angrily. "You just reset the clock again, idiot! And the universe didn't provide this goddamn fish. I did! Asshole!" She threw it on the ground and sat down on a log. "Oh my God! I can't make it another 3 days, let alone 3 days total. I can't believe Daddy was right. There's no way I can spend my life with you, Calvin. I would dash you on the rocks in the first week." Calvin curled his long weaselish body into a sad little ball. I'm sorry, Muriel. I really blew it. I should have thought more about what I wanted and less about what I didn't want. Then maybe I wouldn't have hemorrhoids all the time. That was the final straw. She swooped him up and headed further south, into the far, far distance. The big city of Toronto spread like a glowing waffle into the night. Muriel surrendered Calvin from above into a boyfriend zone at an adoption agency downtown, called Boys R Us, or something. She left without turning to see him waving goodbye. This was at least a little familiar, Calvin thought. Until next time.